What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike, and joining us again is my sister Jenny.
Hey, guys.
We are reacting to The Acolyte, episode 7.
7 of
It's
8.
the penultimate episode.
Yes.
Last week's episode, although we did have our complaints, we felt like it got back on track a little bit in terms of moving the story forward, and we got a few little tasty lore items like the helmet, the Smilo helmet, and the cortosis. Like, I found all of that fascinating. Soul has continued to kind of tease that he's going to reveal what really happened back in Brendock in that flashback episode, and then we got yet another distraction in this last episode, which was disappointing. But it seems like now they have to let us know what happened. It has to happen now.
It's gotta be.
So it's going to be, I'm assuming, another flashback episode, and we're going to get like an alternate version or a...
The great thing about that, though, is that we might get... I saw a Wookiee in the little preview...
Kelnaka,
image.
yeah.
So I was like, we might get Kelnaka back, and we might get Carry-On Moss back, which I would love.
Yeah, and maybe actually finally get them in action, which is what we said we missed out on in like episode.
Yes.
Like when they were looking for Kelnaka, we didn't see him in action. So let's hope we get to see some more lightsabers drawn, some more cool fight choreography. That was where this show was its strongest so far. Was when it was the fight scenes were like the standout scenes here, really. So it's like, give us some more of that.
Yeah.
And tell a story at the same time. We'll be right in business here, doing exactly what we want to do. Like there's a few other things, like the Vernestra kind of became a little bit more important in terms of where she might be fitting into the story. We know that Kymir's Jedi Master like left him or kicked him out or whatever and gave him a scar, and that scar was curiously S-shaped like a whip, and she had that whip. So it's
she
like,
had that really cool pink lightsaber whip.
Maybe she was, that's the whole reason she's trying to cover this up, is because she has dark side secrets too. So it seems like there's just a lot of secrets, too many secrets, and we might finally get it let in on some of them here. So
let's do it.
I'm curious to see what happens. I'm excited, guys. Let's jump in, we'll have some fun, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?
Oh yeah, we still don't know how she created them either.
What I must say to you, so you're going to listen.
Dark, man, dark.
It sure does seem like Soul's gonna be the bad guy in some way, or something is gonna.
He's got a moral reckoning coming.
Why else would Torben feel as guilty as he did?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, back on Brendock.
Okay,
in
same
the
time
flashback
period.
time. Doing a little botany.
Why would Jedi need to do botany? She's metal detecting, it looks like.
And there's no one here, and if we were going to find something, we probably would have found it by now.
100 years ago, this planet was cataloged as lifeless. Yet this planet, Brendock, is thriving.
That's why they're doing botany.
We are looking for a virgins.
What's the versions?
A concentration of force energy
Oh.
Ooh.
centered around a location.
Nothing could be more important to the Jedi. This is a noble mission.
So at this point, they still don't know that the witches are there.
But the witches are also somehow spawned this entire forest.
That's why I have a Padawan and you do not.
Okay, so she's supposed to be a little bit older than he is.
It seems
Like, he's
that
still
way.
a Jedi Knight and she's a master already at this
Right,
point.
yeah, it seems that way. Is he going to come upon Mayanosha in the forest?
Oh, it's the tree, yeah. We know he was following them in the original flashback, yeah.
How'd you know I was here? When I can't find you?
Oh, we saw this, yep.
I looked
Yep.
Oh.
Stop!
Yep.
Why do you always have to do things like that?
That is quite a climb.
Oh.
So he was spying on them in the temple, too. He got a preview of the girl's abilities.
Okay, so she sensed him.
A force called here.
I think they are witches.
Night Sisters.
Oh! Cool.
Besides, Night Sisters don't raise younglings, let alone train them.
I'm glad they made the Night Sister distinction So they're different than Night Sisters. Yeah.
Yep.
What if the girls are in danger?
Ooh, that's pretty.
It's an old platform elevator. This must be an old mining site.
Kilnaga, slice the controls.
All right, this is all lining up with what we've seen. All right, we've seen all this from another angle, so we're just seeing it again so far.
Torben, Jedi Padawan.
You are a strong and good Jedi.
You are a strong and good Jedi.
But you have natural desires you suppress.
Oh,
Do you wish to escape this planet?
Do you wish to escape this?
Do you wish to escape this planet?
She's playing on his weaknesses.
yeah, no, this is making her look evil.
She knows exactly which buttons to push.
Go on.
Ask me. Ask.
I want to return to Coruscant.
Kneel. If you want your Padawan returned to his right mind, I suggest you all leave. The scouts will bring Osha to your camp at midday.
I feel a connection to Osha.
Osha's too old to join the order.
I feel she's meant to be my Padawan.
Her coven will never let her leave.
They marked her sister with dark magic.
Ceremonial markings are customary in many cultures in the galaxy.
But Osha did not have one.
That's true. She may have resisted being marked.
Then who is protecting this child if not the Jedi?
Do not confuse what Osha wants with what you want.
Tell us what you see.
A spaceship. A planet. A necklace.
The image hasn't appeared yet.
Is your marking a part of Ascension? Do you like it? It's very beautiful.
Mama said everyone must walk through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
This feels like they're like CPS or something.
May was instructed to fail. I would like to try a different approach with the other child.
You may. The council said no.
Okay,
They
starting
will
to
not
make sense.
sanction
Yeah.
bringing the twins to Coruscant.
He's gonna go do it anyway.
Their coven.
But there's something dangerous about those women.
They say that we have interfered too much already.
Will they let us come home at least?
No.
Poor Torfin.
Do not alter this little girl's destiny because you have formed an emotional attachment to her.
That is not what's happening here. I want to do what's best for Osha.
You don't get to decide that.
It's the twins' blood test results. The M count is very high. Extremely high. Very force sensitive.
Okay.
Their symbionts are the same. Even identical twins would have different symbionts.
It's because of however they were made.
Yeah, so they're
The
clones.
twins were artificially created.
Yeah.
Split one consciousness into two bodies?
Only a virgin could create that type of power.
Torben! Stop!
We just need proof of a virgins, and those girls are the proof. This is our ticket home!
So Torben got taken advantage of
Yep.
and is now acting brashly.
It's being a little bit
It's gonna set it
hot-headed.
off. Everybody's gonna die. Their one consciousness split into two bodies. Is that what they were getting at? They did directly tie it to midichlorians, though, there.
Now go.
Their M count, he said.
Mm-hmm.
All of this we've already seen.
The Jedi will not warn you before they attack. Good girl. Get mad.
Wow.
Get mad.
You may be their mother, but you are also our leader.
Right now, I choose mother.
That's very interesting.
The elevator's been disabled.
Okay, so they're gonna force their way in.
Go. We must stop him before he starts a conflict.
Get everyone in the common room. Prepare for battle.
I told you we cannot use violence.
And I told you I would die before I let the Jedi take my children.
Okay, so it was an accident.
What exactly is catching fire?
Looks like an electrical
rock
circuit of some
wall.
kind.
Oh, was there like oil in the lamp? Probably that.
Yeah.
It was foolish to come back here, Jedi.
We come with noble intentions. The twins. Where did they come from? How were they created?
Ooh. Cool little light arrow there.
Someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy.
Easy, Tobin. Osha!
Help me!
Whoa!
What? What is happening? Wait, what was she about to do though? Just like stop the fight?
I was going to let Osha go. It's what she wants. She chose you.
No! Mama!
Run!
All right, Corbin's getting some action. Jesus.
Okay, Torben.
Fight me!
Oh, that's the reactor blowing up.
No, she's disincorporating.
All right.
We're gonna see what happens with this.
You should not have brought him here.
No. My mind is fortified.
Not you.
Oh, she's mind controlling him. Okay. All right. Kalnaka's finally gonna fight, but as a bad guy.
Jedi
Oh
versus
shit.
Jedi.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. A Wookiee Jedi would not be fun to fight.
What?
Yo. Well, we know all of them live. Yes.
Whoa.
Oh shit. Oh, he's got the black eyes too. Oh, well, that's how he got the scar. That's how Torben got effed up. Oh,
Nice.
shit.
Wow. Yes.
Okay, here we go.
That's all I needed in my life was Carrie Ann
Carrie-
Moss versus a Wookiee.
Oh, she's gotta
She's got to
outpower that whole
she's got
coven.
to
Look at
fortify
that.
her mind.
Nice.
Wow.
That's how they
what
die.
happened.
Oh,
Wow.
she killed all of them at once.
Dang.
Right, because they were all dead in a pile.
Yes.
Oh,
Now.
fuck, dude. Well, I feel like Kalnaka's the only one that's actually innocent. He was being mind controlled. Oh, this is different than the last, isn't it?
Is he only able to save one of them? Does he only have enough strength for one?
It's the good son with with Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin. Even the hanging off the cliff part of it.
That's a real Sophie's choice.
That was a little bit different because the first time around we just saw him like reach out. Here we saw him try to do
Try
both
to
of these.
save both of them and fail.
Okay, so Indara actually fucking killed the whole coven.
I'm sorry.
He is messed
Kalnaka,
up.
I warned both of you.
I wanted the twins to be safe. I had to make a choice.
Master! What will we tell the council?
We will tell the council the truth.
No, you won't.
May burned down the witch's fortress,
Oh, okay.
and everyone was lost.
Wow. Talk about cover up.
I must face the council.
Why would you do that to her? Before you throw yourself at the mercy of the council, ask yourself why you made this choice.
You're okay, Osha.
What happened?
They started a fire.
And is that the end?
Okay.
I feel like I actually need to process.
I do too. And I would say this was probably my favorite episode so far. Interesting because there was a lot of it that we had literally already seen before.
Yeah.
But it worked in context of the storytelling in this episode. I found that there was like a very, very interesting, very thorny moral question here. With the witches, there's an extremely fine line between what constitutes like an indigenous people just doing their own thing and what constitutes a dangerous cult.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Jedi actually have slightly differing opinions on that. Like at first, Carrie-Anne Moss is basically like, they're an indigenous people doing their thing. Leave them alone to themselves. And Soul's point of view is more like, this is a dangerous cult. We must save the children. And then that comes to a head when they find out that the twins were artificially created, that they're basically like Force clones, because that, I feel like that's sort of a... that's shakier moral ground than just being like, oh, they're just a separate culture doing their thing.
But also, I feel like the mother, Anastasia, like, it's so easy to be like, oh, she's so beautiful and soft and motherly. But then that scene where she started manipulating Torben.
She's
and
got
I was
her
like,
dark
wait a
side
minute,
as well.
this lady's whole act is a farce. She's actually a bad guy.
Right.
And that made you be more sort of like, no. At first, Indara was like, wait a minute, we can't just, like, this might just be their witches,
their culture,
their religion.
They've got their own religion, their own culture.
On their,
yep.
like, and she was clear about that.
Yep.
And then when another detail was revealed to her, she was more sort of like, oh, wait, now I see. And
right, exactly. Yeah.
Was
and
it more sort of like when they were
is...
failing the test on purpose?
Right.
And that's why I was like, this feels a little bit like CPS, like they're trying to decide whether you're abusing your children or not.
Are they CPS or are they colonizers? Where's the line? You know, it's very tricky. There's not like a clear good guy and bad guy.
To be fair, I know I just called Mother Anastasia a bad guy, but like then she was also like, after
she was the
he
one who was
stabbed her, she was
prepared
like,
to
I was
let
gonna
Osha
let her
go.
Yeah. So
and remember in the previous flashback episode, I don't remember which episode that was, but the previous witch episode, we saw her give Osha that choice and sort of say, you have to decide for yourself.
You know what? I might walk it back a little bit because Mother Anastasia, I think they were trying to show the, like, in the same way that like a mother lioness would like kill to defend her cub.
Yeah.
It's not a bad guy thing. It's like, I'm like, where she was like, I choose mother. That scene was very much like, okay, well, like, it's not so much she evil
chose
and
mother
bad.
rather than leader. She chose to like be a mother to her child rather than to be a leader to the coven in that moment.
This plays into the gray area theme of the whole show, where it's like
absolutely.
every character has their own demons,
moral,
and bad,
has like moral gray areas.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, with Mother Anastasia, you definitely see both sides. With the Jedi, you definitely see both sides, it's a misunderstanding.
I said specifically, Kalnaka was the only one that was innocent here.
Right,
like,
because
what
he was
did he
being
do
mind
wrong?
controlled. He didn't do
Torben,
anything.
you could actually be like, he was young and stupid and a little
was hot-headed.
wanted to get the hell out of there and
Yep.
couldn't handle the heat. So he was a little bit innocent,
motivations
but also
are in question because, you know, for all the reasons that Indara keeps calling him out. She's
Yeah.
like, don't be guided by your emotions.
And as wise
Don't let
as
your
Indara
emotional
was the whole time
connection-
and right pretty much about everything, she still managed to kill every one of those witches.
and
with one-
orchestrated a cover-up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's not off the hook either.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody here is wrestling with, like, the light and the dark, the good and the bad.
Something about the way where it was like, okay, this lines up with the way we already know it. This lines up with the way we already know it. It just felt like a little too many of the scenes were just simple camera angle changes on the exact same moment, which gives it that like Back to the Future kind of feel where you're like, I've already seen
it
this.
from a different
I've seen
angle.
it from
Yeah.
it. Now I'm seeing it from the principal's office.
Yeah. I really
Instead
didn't
of
mind that, though, because I felt like it made sense in context.
No, and it does. And like you said, like it served its purpose from a story. I just wish there was a little bit more of a because I was waiting for those individual details to stand out that were different. Like I said, when you see Soul go like this at the end, you don't see him do that the first time around. I'm pretty sure it's literally just Osha and he saves her and she screams May or whatever. But it's like, oh, he did make an effort to.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this just reminds me totally of the end of The Good Son where the mom has to drop Macaulay Culkin to save the other kid.
Another really interesting sort of bit of lore in this episode, the Avergence.
Yeah.
Which is like this concentration of the Force. It's like the idea, I mean, this exists in many, many cultures, the idea of like a sacred place.
Yeah.
Where like the spirits are very, very strong or whatever it is. And in this instance, it's the Force that's extremely strong.
Yeah, that's the theme that you can kind of like, for instance, Dagobah is supposed, where Yoda's hanging out, is supposed to be like shrouded in the dark side or whatever. It's supposed to be very like Force sensitive area that where the Force is concentrated there. Yeah. And I haven't read the comics, but I know they go further into Dagobah being like one of those. They don't say that. I don't know if the Vergence is something that we've heard before. I haven't heard it, but correct me if I'm wrong, guys. That might be the first time we've heard that term specifically.
Avergence.
But it's sort of like a macro way of looking at the individual, like Anakin Skywalker or these girls, Osha and May, that have these high M counts. They're like they're a prophesized child or whatever. They're a Vergence in themselves. And the environment that they come from is also a Vergence in this case.
Yeah. I found that very interesting as well.
Yeah. That was cool. So, I agree. I think this might actually be, other than that, like, I felt like there was just too much identical. Well, we've seen this already. Like, they were padding the time way too much with shit we've seen already.
Yeah.
That they could have easily gotten to the juicier parts there a lot quicker, and I would have enjoyed the flow a lot more. Ironically, in a way, I feel like this is the one episode that could have benefited from being shorter in that way. Yeah, where I almost was like,
we were talking before about
we
how
know
all
where
of
we're
these
gonna
have been
get
kind
to
of short episodes, and
so they just spent this huge chunk
it
going
could
somewhere
have
where
been trimmed. It could have been trimmed
in
in certain places, but I didn't really mind it. And although the previous Witch episode was probably my least favorite episode, with the chanting and all the stuff that we know I didn't enjoy,
they kept that to a minimum.
I really did enjoy this episode. This really had me on the edge of my seat. The fight was brutal. The Jedi versus Jedi fight there
Kelnacca
was brutal.
Packed a huge punch. It was more sort of about the broadsword style of big, huge individual, just the power of it all, and less about the speed.
There was
and
some
finesse.
crazy Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, flying through the air stuff going on there too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when Carrie-Anne Moss came in, she flew right over the lightsaber and jumped in, and I mean, that was cool.
I'm not exactly sure what was supposed to be happening when Mother Anastasia vaporized.
Yeah,
and
she
then
disincorporated, and then Coral did the same thing a little later.
It was a little bit sort of wait, what was that sequence of events, and why was what just happened? And he decided to kill her, but to prevent. Maybe he thought she was about to do something, but then she insisted she was gonna let her go, and it's then what's with all the right before she vaporized, she was gonna be stop it or whatever to the fighting that was about to break out. So it seemed like peaceful, but also why do it in such a threatening way that the Jedi, it's almost
we're terrified and would stab you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just kind of a confusing. Is that kind of what they were going for?
It seems like that entire sequence is sort of a series of misunderstandings that spiral increasingly out of control.
And everybody's just way too into their personal shit to exactly. He Soul just seemed unreasonably passionately concerned with making Osha his Padawan, despite the Indara's warnings.
I'm just really fascinated.
Torben was unreasonably passionately needing to get the F out of there and go back home to Coruscant.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, and then the mother Coral was like extremely like, we're not gonna let them go. I'm gonna get mad. Like she was very like.
I mean, I find this. I'm
everybody was acting
circling
way
back
too
on the same
crazy.
themes that we're already discussing, but I really find this interesting. This question of whether the Coven has the right to exist as such. Are they just like a separate religion, a separate culture, living their own way, or is this a compound? Are they a cult? Like there are several witches in this coven who want to prevent the girls from making their own choice.
Yeah,
they want to prevent them from having any free will. And then there's Anastasia, who's like, I'm going to give her the choice. I want to let her make this decision for herself, and I was going to let her go. So again, like gray area. There's no easy answer to that question, but I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, but it goes beyond just the basic, because when you incorporate the fact that they're created artificially and they were like, it was just very like,
there's some dark magic
even
going
if the
on
Force
here.
wasn't involved, you'd be like, this is some illegal,
that's some sketchy shit.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of gray area, a lot of
gray
slippery
areas.
slopes, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of unnecessary passion. It's just very like, everybody calm the F down. It's just
passions were heightened and tensions were heightened, and then everything literally exploded.
Yeah, definitely an unnecessary sequence of events, and like Soul's been like suggesting that there was this alternate, reality that we needed to know about the whole season leading up to this. So we knew this was going to be explained to us. So I felt like we waited to get that
really
this
explains
information.
why the two twins have such differing perspectives, because May physically watched her mother being stabbed to death. She saw it happen. She saw it go down.
Yeah.
And Osha was saving herself from the fire. She didn't see any of that. The only version of events she knows is the lie that Soul tells her at the end there. The cover-up.
But
That's
also,
the only version of events she's heard or seen, whereas May saw what actually happened. May saw what really went down.
if you went back to one of our earlier reactions, like that episode, the original flashback episode, we're like, May seems like she's like bipolar or schizophrenic, whatever you want to call it.
We've made
like,
that comment about her more than
a couple
once.
times where it's like,
Yeah.
it seems like she's like alternate personalities. And then here we got the first kind of glimpse into like, oh, well, yeah, it looked like Mother Coral kind of like made that happen, like switched
Forcefully
her.
influenced her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And gave her the motivation to be that way. So it made that make a little more sense, which I appreciate.
And the
because
fire turns out to have been an accident, which also makes a little more
it doesn't
sense
explain
than-
May's more up, in the present time, the flip-flopping she's been doing.
Right.
But at least that one, it felt cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my complaint about the episode is that I felt like it was too matchy-matchy to the other one. It was a little too... Every scene was just a different camera angle. So I felt like, oh my God, 60% of that episode I've already seen.
Sure.
So it was too long considering the amount of... But the stuff that did happen was juicy. And there was a little bit of action, but it didn't happen until very late in the episode. So... But seeing Jedi on Jedi on Jedi, that was fun.
That was really fun. That was a great fight. That was an awesome
and also,
sequence.
the Kelnaka not fighting was a complaint that we had previously, so at least we did.
I'm so happy that we got to see Kelnaka and Indara in
Yeah.
this episode, because watching the two of them fight is awesome.
Okay, so
That's
now
great.
there's one more episode left. We had no mention of Kymir or how that
Right.
ties in.
Right.
So, like, what's his
We've still got to
connection?
find out about his backstory,
Yeah.
like who his master was, what happened to him. We've got to find out what's going to happen with Osha now that she's
I hope that-
experimenting
man.
with this kurtosis mask.
Because we mentioned how Vernestra seemed concerned with covering things up potentially because maybe she was Kymir's Jedi Master and she knows about all this ahead of time and has been doing her own little cover-up. So it could be that these are two completely separate cover-ups.
Right. It
Soul
could be.
and Indara and
It's
Torben and
entirely
Kelnaka have their
possible.
own
A
little
lot of-
hush-hush thing, and Vernestra
lot
has her
of
own, like,
sweeping
I
under
know
the
that the
carpet
Sith are
going
out there,
on.
and I accidentally caused one of them.
Right.
Could be her little secret, and everybody's got their own...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's a lot of elements that have to come to a head in the final episode.
I hope, though, it's not one of these, like, they're expecting season 2, in which we might not get, and that they'll just leave so much stuff open that it'll be like, well, that's unsatisfying,
Right.
because we might not get a second season at all, to, like, follow up some of these storylines.
Yeah.
So, like, I do want to know why Kymir is the way he is, and how this all connects, because now we can only assume that was a flashback episode. We're gonna have modern stuff again with Vernestra, and how are May and Osha gonna reconcile the realities? They're different.
They're different perspectives.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's interesting. They've managed to set up a little scenario where we're waiting to see what happens in the finale, and it's gonna wrap up one way or another. But I think I'm interested to see what happens now, because this was the most sort of cerebral episode so far in terms of trying to piece everything together. It did, I think, what it needed to do.
Yeah. Cool.
I enjoyed it, guys. Let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see reactions fully unedited in watch-along style, go over to patreon.com/JediJive. That's where we put them up. We'll see you in the next reaction.
Peace.
Peace.